Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that a battle is being waged inside your mind right now, a war you may not even be aware of? Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every shift in your mental state can be a battlefield, and the stakes are higher than you might imagine. This is not just about feeling stressed or anxious. This is a clash of forces far beyond our immediate comprehension. Many of us walk through life unaware of the silent yet powerful forces attempting to manipulate our thoughts and emotions. We may label our struggles as bad days or temporary phases, but what if these are not just coincidental, natural occurrences? What if they are the signs of something much darker, a spiritual attack on your very mind? It begins with a subtle shift in your thinking. A thought, once clear and calm, becomes clouded, consumed with negativity, fear, and doubt. At first it feels like you're just going through a tough time, but over time these thoughts intensify. They keep coming like a persistent, relentless storm. Negative thoughts infiltrate your mind, turning everything you once felt certain about into a landscape of chaos. That overwhelming sense of dread, hopelessness, and anxiety isn't just a bad mood. It's a signal that something deeper, something spiritual is at play. Then comes the loss of peace. What once felt like mental clarity now seems like a distant memory. Your thoughts are scattered, your focus lost. You may not even remember what it felt like to simply be at ease without a constant inner noise. The stillness of your mind is replaced by confusion, and this loss of inner peace could be a sign of a spiritual battle trying to cloud your ability to think and discern clearly. But it doesn't stop there. No, the effects of spiritual warfare reach further. Physical exhaustion sets in out of nowhere. You find yourself drained, fatigued, and unable to do the simplest tasks. Headaches become your unwelcome companion, and you begin to wonder, why do you feel so tired all the time, despite doing nothing out of the ordinary? It's as though something beyond your body is slowly wearing you down. You may even notice strange dreams or nightmares that leave you shaken to the core. Dreams that are vivid, unsettling, and often leave you with feelings of fear, entrapment, or despair. These are not just random thoughts. These are spiritual disturbances trying to enter your mind while you sleep, attacking your subconscious. As if that's not enough, your temper might change. A once calm demeanor may suddenly shift to intense irritation and anger for no reason at all. Simple situations become triggers, and your patience seems to wear thin faster than ever before. This irritability, if unchecked, can fracture relationships and disrupt your peace even further, all while you struggle to understand why you feel so different. But perhaps the most dangerous sign of all is the pull to isolate. You feel a deep, unexplainable urge to withdraw from those who love and care for you. You begin to feel disconnected, as though your community no longer understands you. It's as if an invisible wall has been placed between you and others, making you feel alone, even in a crowd. And as you isolate yourself, the thoughts and struggles become more intense, harder to bear. This is the ultimate aim of the spiritual attack: to separate you, to break you down until you are isolated, vulnerable, and unable to stand. Ladies and gentlemen, these signs are not to be ignored. The battle is real, and it is happening in the unseen, the spiritual realm, but its effects are felt deeply in our thoughts, emotions, and bodies. But here's the good news. We are not without tools, and we are not powerless. Awareness of these signs is the first step in reclaiming your peace and standing strong in the face of this unseen war. You are not alone in this fight, and by recognizing these signs, you can begin to protect your mind and spirit, whether through prayer, meditation, or seeking support from those who understand. You can stand firm against the attacks that seek to undo you. The battle for your mind is not one you must fight alone, but it begins with recognizing when the attack has started. Stay vigilant, stay aware, and know that victory is possible. When we talk about the constant barrage of negative thoughts, it's easy to dismiss it as just a bad day or a passing mood. But what if I told you that this overwhelming flood of negativity could be much more than just temporary stress? It might be one of the clearest signs of a spiritual attack on your mind. Negative thoughts, especially when they persist or intensify, can be a powerful weapon used in spiritual warfare, seeking to weaken your mental resilience and cloud your judgment. The mind, in its natural state, is a space for thoughts to come and go. Like waves in the ocean, they appear, they linger for a moment, and then they pass, often without leaving a lasting impact. However, when negative thoughts begin to feel invasive, as if they're coming from a source outside of yourself, something shifts. The constant stream of fear, doubt, worry, or self-criticism can seem almost uncontrollable. No matter how hard you try to push them away, they return with even more intensity. These thoughts invade your mental space, eating away at your peace and leaving you feeling mentally exhausted and emotionally drained. At first, these negative thoughts might manifest as a passing sense of unease or mild anxiety. You wake up with a feeling of dread or a looming uncertainty about the day ahead. You may find yourself reflecting on worst-case scenarios, imagining things going wrong at work, in relationships, or even in your personal goals. At this stage, you might not realize that the weight of these thoughts is beginning to grow heavier. You might think to yourself, it's just a phase, I'll get over it. But as time goes on, you start to notice a pattern. The thoughts become more persistent, more pervasive, and harder to shake off. One of the hallmarks of these spiritual attacks is the feeling that the negativity is out of your control. You may feel as though you are at the mercy of these intrusive thoughts, unable to escape them, no matter how much you try to redirect your attention. They come at you from every angle, often fueling feelings of inadequacy, guilt, and self-doubt. These thoughts begin to undermine your confidence, make you second-guess your decisions, and even question your worth. When these thoughts become all-consuming, they can isolate you from the people around you, create a barrier between you and your sense of purpose, and slowly erode your self-esteem. What makes these negative thoughts so dangerous is that they often appear to be an internal voice, convincing you that these feelings are your own. However, the nature of a spiritual attack is that it attempts to deceive you into thinking that these feelings are genuine, when in reality, they are being imposed upon your mind from an external force. The more you internalize these thoughts, the more you become a prisoner of your own mind. These external influences use your weaknesses, your insecurities, and your fears against you. They make you believe that you are hopeless, that your problems are insurmountable, and that there is no way out. As the days go by, these thoughts can begin to seep into your interactions with others. You may begin to push people away, not because you want to, but because you feel unworthy of their attention or love. You might convince yourself that they don't understand your struggles, or that you are better off alone. But this is another tactic used in spiritual warfare, to isolate you, to make you feel that you are alone in your fight. And when you're isolated, when you're left alone with your negative thoughts, that's when the attack becomes even more dangerous. This invasion of negative thinking can also take the form of fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of not being good enough. It can paralyze you, preventing you from taking the necessary steps to move forward in your life. You may find yourself hesitating, overthinking every decision, and constantly asking, what if it goes wrong? Or what if I'm not capable? Fear can grip your mind in such a way that it keeps you stuck in a cycle of indecision, preventing you from taking action. But here's where the challenge lies. Because these negative thoughts feel so personal, it becomes incredibly difficult to separate them from your true self. They feel like your own thoughts, your own fears, and your own doubts. However, the reality is that they are being planted and nurtured, feeding off your vulnerabilities. It's important to recognize that not every thought you have is your own. Negative thoughts, especially when they are overwhelming and disproportionate to the situation, are often a form of spiritual oppression. They are intended to weaken you, to break your spirit, and to steal your peace. What makes this attack so insidious is that it works in the background silently, manipulating your thoughts until you no longer know what's real and what's been planted by an outside force. It doesn't just attack your thoughts. It affects your emotions, your relationships, and ultimately your sense of identity. And if left unchecked, it can rob you of your mental and emotional health, leaving you vulnerable to even greater attacks. But understanding that these negative thoughts are not your own is the first step toward reclaiming your mind. When you recognize the signs of the spiritual attack, you can begin to defend yourself. You can take active steps to protect your mind from these invasions through practices such as prayer, meditation, or seeking guidance from others who can help you stay grounded. You can fight back not by engaging with the negativity, but by fortifying your mind with truth, with positivity, and with the understanding that you are not alone in this battle. In the end, the key to overcoming these constant negative thoughts lies in recognizing their true origin and taking the necessary steps to remove their power over your mind. You have the strength within you to stand firm, to resist, and to reclaim your mental clarity. The loss of peace and clarity is one of the most striking signs of a spiritual attack on the mind. And it can feel like an overwhelming storm cloud descending upon your mental landscape. Imagine waking up every morning with a sense of fog hanging over you, where everything seems clouded, uncertain, and out of focus. The peace that once came naturally, the stillness in your thoughts, and the clarity you felt about your decisions, your life, and your purpose seems to have evaporated. Instead, what remains is a feeling of mental chaos and disarray, and you cannot seem to shake it no matter how hard you try. Initially, this loss of peace might seem subtle. Perhaps you're simply more distracted than usual or find it harder to concentrate. Your once sharp focus starts slipping away, and even tasks you've done 1,000 times now feel like they require more effort than they should. What was once a smooth flow of thoughts and plans now becomes disjointed, fragmented. Small decisions, once effortless, become monumental struggles. What to wear, what to eat, what to do next in your day. These choices that never seemed difficult before now overwhelm you. This disorientation can create a sense of frustration, as though you're no longer the person you were, unable to connect to the calm center of your mind that once guided you. As this lack of peace deepens, confusion begins to take root. You find it difficult to think clearly, and your thoughts become muddled. A sense of indecision takes over your daily routine, and you begin to question things you previously held as truths. Every decision feels like a leap into the unknown, and you start doubting yourself in ways that were foreign to you. A once stable foundation of thoughts and decisions has turned into a shaking ground beneath your feet, and no matter how hard you try to clear your mind, the fog never seems to lift. The confidence you once had in your ability to navigate life starts to slip away, leaving you paralyzed in uncertainty. This growing confusion is not only mental but also emotional. You start feeling disconnected from yourself, as though you're living in a foggy dream where things no longer feel quite right. You might feel like you're watching your life unfold from the outside, as though you're no longer in control of your own thoughts or decisions. It's like being trapped in a mental maze where every turn only leads to more confusion and frustration. This feeling of being lost is often accompanied by an overwhelming sense of dread or anxiety, as though something is about to happen, but you can't quite identify what it is. The unknown has become a dark cloud, constantly hovering over you, making you fear the future or anything outside of your immediate environment. The lack of peace might also manifest in your interactions with others. You become easily irritated, frustrated by things that would normally be insignificant. Conversations may feel shallow, or you might feel disconnected from the people around you, even though there's no clear reason why. Social gatherings, once full of comfort and ease, may become a source of unease. The simplest exchanges now feel like obstacles to navigate, and your energy drains quickly in social situations. The mental chaos that's gripping you starts to spill over into your relationships, causing distance between you and those who care about you. In a deeper sense, this loss of peace can feel like a spiritual void, as though something is missing from within. You might even feel disconnected from your sense of purpose or spiritual beliefs, and what once gave you comfort and strength now seems distant or inaccessible. The absence of peace is not just a mental state, but a spiritual one as well, where you can feel the weight of an unseen force trying to pull you further away from your true self. You might find yourself questioning your beliefs, your purpose in life, or the very meaning of your existence. This disconnect from your inner peace is an attempt to destabilize your foundation, to make you feel vulnerable and unsure. The worst part is that it's hard to pinpoint the source of this loss of peace. You may try to find external reasons for it, stress at work, a difficult relationship, or personal struggles, but nothing fully explains the depth of confusion and anxiety that has overtaken your mind. You might even convince yourself that you're just going through a rough patch, that it's something temporary. However, the truth is that when peace is stripped from you in this manner, it's often a sign of spiritual attack. These attacks are subtle, designed to slowly erode your inner calm until you find yourself caught in a whirlwind of confusion and doubt, making it harder to discern what's real and what's merely a distortion of your thoughts. In these moments of disarray, it's essential to recognize the spiritual nature of the attack. When your peace is taken from you, it's not merely a matter of being stressed out or tired. It's about recognizing that something is working against you on a deeper level, using confusion and distraction to weaken your mind and spirit. By acknowledging this loss of peace as a spiritual issue, you can begin to take proactive steps to regain clarity and restore balance to your life. Through practices such as prayer, meditation, seeking guidance, or even simple moments of stillness and reflection, you can begin to re-anchor yourself and rebuild the peace that has been stolen. Restoring peace to your mind is not just about mental exercises, it's about realigning yourself spiritually and reclaiming your clarity and stability. When you experience unexplained physical symptoms and fatigue, it often feels like your body is betraying you. The exhaustion doesn't make sense. It's not the result of overworking yourself or being under a lot of stress in a way you can easily understand. You sleep enough, you eat well, but still you feel drained. There's a deep, overwhelming tiredness that doesn't seem to go away no matter what you do. Your body feels heavy, like it's carrying the weight of something far beyond ordinary exhaustion. This sense of fatigue is not just physical, it's as if the very energy of your being is being siphoned away, leaving you in a state of constant depletion. It's as though something external is gradually weakening you, and while your mind might try to convince you that you're simply overworked or sick, you can't shake the feeling that something deeper is at play. This fatigue is not just an occasional feeling of being tired. It becomes a persistent state that hangs over you even when you rest. You might wake up from a full night's sleep feeling as though you haven't slept at all, your body still heavy and your mind foggy. The usual morning energy you once had to greet the day is replaced with a sense of dread, and the energy you have is quickly drained by the smallest tasks. Something as simple as getting out of bed or taking a shower feels like a monumental effort. It's as if your body is in a constant state of weariness, unable to recharge despite all the effort you put into resting and recovering. Beyond fatigue, you might experience unexplained aches and pains. Your muscles feel sore, even though you haven't exerted yourself physically, and your joints ache for no apparent reason. These physical symptoms often don't have a clear medical explanation, and when you visit a doctor, they can't find a physical cause. There's no injury, no infection, no illness that explains your pain, yet it persists. This is where the spiritual dimension of the attack becomes clear. When a spiritual force is working against you, it can affect not just your mental and emotional state, but your physical body as well. The goal is to weaken you from the inside out, draining your energy and making it harder for you to function day by day. As the physical exhaustion grows, so too does a sense of emotional heaviness. You may find yourself struggling to motivate yourself even to do the things that once brought you joy or fulfillment. The things that once energized you, like spending time with loved ones, pursuing a hobby, or taking care of your responsibilities, now feel like burdens. It's not that you no longer care, but rather that you simply don't have the strength to care anymore. The fatigue has a way of clouding your emotions, leaving you feeling emotionally numb or disconnected. It's like being caught in a fog where you know something is off, but you can't quite pinpoint it. You're physically drained, emotionally exhausted, and mentally overwhelmed, all at once. This spiritual attack is designed to affect your entire well-being, creating a cycle of depletion that's hard to break. The more tired you feel, the harder it becomes to fight back against the negativity and confusion that may also be clouding your thoughts. The physical exhaustion becomes a breeding ground for negative emotions and mental confusion, making it even more difficult to regain your sense of clarity and peace. When you are physically weakened, your mental defenses are also weakened, leaving you more vulnerable to the intrusive thoughts and emotional distress that can accompany a spiritual attack. And it's not just the fatigue itself that can be overwhelming, it's the feeling of helplessness that comes with it. When you know you should feel better, but you don't, it's easy to fall into frustration or despair. You may begin to question your health, your strength, or even your ability to handle life's challenges. The longer this fatigue lingers, the more it starts to impact your overall quality of life. You may find yourself withdrawing from activities and relationships because you simply don't have the energy to engage. The emotional toll is significant, as you might start to feel like you're no longer capable of living your life as you once did. This sense of weariness, this constant drain on your energy, is often a spiritual tactic to isolate you, break your spirit, and create a feeling of powerlessness. When you're tired physically and mentally, you are less likely to fight back against the attacks on your mind. You become less inclined to engage in practices that might restore your strength, like prayer, reflection, or seeking support. The goal is to make you feel like you're powerless, like your body and mind are betraying you, and that you can't find a way out. This is a dangerous cycle because it keeps you stuck in a state of exhaustion and emotional withdrawal, making it harder to break free from the attack. The most important thing to remember in these moments of physical exhaustion is that it's not just about what you can do to rest your body, it's about what you can do to restore your spirit and your mind. The fatigue may be physical, but the source of it often lies in the spiritual realm. Recognizing that this exhaustion is not just a product of daily life or stress is the first step toward regaining control. You have to understand that this weariness is an attack, and by addressing the root cause, you can begin to restore your vitality. Through spiritual practices, seeking guidance, and focusing on healing the deeper aspects of your being, you can start to replenish the energy that has been drained from you. By taking care of your body, mind, and spirit, you can gradually regain the strength to overcome the fatigue and break free from the attack on your physical and emotional well-being. Strange dreams or nightmares can be deeply unsettling, and when they become a recurring theme, they can leave you feeling emotionally disturbed, mentally drained, and even spiritually vulnerable. Dreams are often seen as a reflection of our subconscious mind, a way for our emotions, thoughts, and fears to manifest when we sleep. However, when these dreams take a darker, more troubling turn, especially if they become vivid, nightmarish, or leave you with lingering feelings of fear and unease, the experience can go far beyond the ordinary. Nightmares in particular have long been associated with spiritual disturbances, as they often seem to tap into a deeper, darker place within the mind. You might begin to notice that your dreams are becoming increasingly strange, vivid, or disturbing. They aren't simply reflections of a stressful day or unresolved emotions. They feel like something more, something sinister. In many cases, these dreams are not just a product of your subconscious, but rather a deliberate attempt to disturb your peace of mind and weaken your spirit. A person under spiritual attack may begin to experience nightmares that are more intense than normal, often involving themes of being chased, trapped, or attacked. These dreams can feel extremely real, and you may wake up with a racing heart, drenched in sweat, or even with the physical sensation of the terror still lingering in your body. It can feel like you were actually being attacked, even though it was all a dream. These dreams can also take the form of vivid images or symbols that seem to carry a specific, unsettling meaning. You might dream of dark figures, eerie landscapes, or foreboding environments that feel oppressive and threatening. In some cases, the dreams are filled with disturbing imagery, such as death, destruction, or darkness that seems to close in on you. These types of dreams can be so intense that you wake up with a sense of dread that is hard to shake off. The fear from the dream can follow you into your waking hours, leaving you feeling unsafe or unsettled. These nightmares often leave you wondering if they were merely a product of your mind or if they hold a deeper, more sinister meaning that you cannot fully comprehend. But what makes these dreams particularly alarming is not just their content, but the way they can affect your overall well-being. Nightmares can erode your sense of safety and peace, leaving you feeling vulnerable even in the light of day. They can create a constant state of anxiety, making it difficult for you to relax or feel secure, as if the threats in your dreams are following you, lingering in the shadows of your thoughts. The dreams feel like an ongoing assault on your psyche, preventing you from fully resting, even when you are asleep. You may find yourself waking up in the middle of the night, startled or disturbed by the images or emotions that remain with you long after the dream has ended. In a deeper spiritual sense, recurring nightmares or strange dreams can be seen as an attempt to invade your subconscious and weaken your mental and emotional defenses. The nature of spiritual attacks is often subtle, operating in the unseen realms of your mind and spirit, and nightmares serve as a tool for these attacks. When you are under spiritual oppression, it can feel as though your subconscious is being bombarded with messages, images, or themes that are meant to unsettle you, disrupt your peace, and diminish your sense of well-being. These nightmares can be particularly dangerous because they occur during a time when you are most vulnerable, while you are asleep. Sleep is supposed to be a time of rest and renewal, but for someone experiencing a spiritual attack, it becomes a battleground. Nightmares that occur as part of a spiritual attack are often not random, but seem to be deliberately crafted to target specific fears, weaknesses, or insecurities that exist within you. For example, you may dream of being chased or trapped in ways that echo real-life feelings of helplessness or anxiety. You might experience dreams where you are surrounded by dark, malevolent forces that represent your feelings of being overwhelmed or controlled by negative emotions in your waking life. These recurring nightmarish experiences are designed to keep you in a constant state of fear, confusion, and unease. They aim to destabilize you emotionally and spiritually, making it more difficult to discern reality from fear and preventing you from finding the peace and rest you need to function effectively in your daily life. In many cases, these dreams can also be symbolic of a deeper spiritual struggle. The dark figures or oppressive forces you encounter in your dreams may represent spiritual enemies, such as forces of negativity, evil, or oppression. These dream symbols often carry a weight of significance, warning you of unseen forces that are attempting to invade your spiritual life and disrupt your connection with peace, purpose, and clarity. If left unchecked, these spiritual attacks in the form of nightmares can have a cumulative effect on your well-being, slowly draining you of your strength, peace, and faith. It's crucial to recognize that these dreams are not merely the result of random stress or anxiety. They can be signs of a deeper spiritual struggle that requires more than just trying to push through them or dismissing them as a natural occurrence. They are an indication that something is trying to infiltrate your subconscious and disrupt your peace. When you begin to experience these strange, disturbing dreams, it's essential to take them seriously and consider the possibility that they may be a form of spiritual attack. Addressing the issue requires not only physical rest, but also spiritual vigilance. Prayer, meditation, and seeking support from others who can help you discern and combat these spiritual attacks can be vital in overcoming the fear and confusion these dreams create. By recognizing the nature of these dreams and their potential spiritual significance, you can begin to protect yourself and reclaim your peace of mind. Understanding that you have the ability to confront these forces, whether through spiritual practices, mental discipline, or support from others, can help you regain control over your subconscious mind and break free from the grip of these unsettling nightmares. When we experience a sudden shift in our emotions, one of the most alarming signs that we might be under a spiritual attack is the overwhelming feeling of emotional instability. This kind of emotional turbulence can appear almost out of nowhere, making it difficult to understand why you feel so unbalanced. One moment you might feel fine, calm, collected, and capable, and the next moment, without warning, you are consumed by a flood of emotions that you can't seem to control. The feelings may range from intense sadness, anger, or hopelessness to irritability, frustration, or anxiety. It's as though your emotions are being hijacked and you no longer feel like you have control over how you respond to situations or people around you. This emotional chaos often feels disproportionate to the events or circumstances in your life. For instance, a minor inconvenience or misunderstanding with a colleague, friend, or family member can trigger a reaction that is far stronger than what the situation warrants. The emotions can feel irrational, as though you are on an emotional roller coaster that you can't seem to get off. One minute you might be deeply upset or angry about something trivial, and the next you may find yourself overwhelmed by sadness or a sense of dread that you can't explain. These sudden shifts in emotion leave you feeling drained and out of sync with your normal emotional state. You feel as though your emotional stability is slipping through your fingers, and you can't pinpoint why this is happening. What makes this emotional turbulence particularly dangerous is the effect it has on your relationships and overall well-being. When you are constantly shifting between extreme emotional states, it becomes incredibly difficult to maintain stable connections with others. Loved ones may begin to notice the unpredictability of your mood, and while they may try to support you, it can be difficult for them to understand why you seem to change so rapidly or seem so overwhelmed by emotions that are difficult to explain. The emotional instability can create friction in your relationships, making you feel more isolated and misunderstood. At the same time, it also erodes your ability to connect with others in a meaningful way, as you may find yourself withdrawing from social situations or pushing people away in frustration, not understanding why your emotions are so intense or uncontrollable. This emotional upheaval isn't just an inconvenience. It can have a profound impact on your mental and physical health. Prolonged emotional instability can lead to exhaustion, as it takes a tremendous amount of energy to constantly manage overwhelming feelings. This emotional drain can further contribute to mental fatigue, clouding your ability to think clearly or make sound decisions. The emotional turmoil also often leaves you feeling confused or unsure of yourself. You might begin to question your own emotions, wondering if your reactions are valid or if you're simply overreacting. This self-doubt can spiral into further anxiety or despair, feeding the emotional instability and making it harder to find the calm and peace you once had. In some cases, this emotional instability can also lead to feelings of despair or hopelessness that don't seem to make sense. You might experience a sense of hopelessness or a belief that things will never improve, even in areas of your life that are going well. This pessimistic outlook can seem overwhelming, as though there is no way out of the emotional darkness, no matter how much you try to change your mindset. It becomes difficult to imagine a future where things get better or where peace is restored. This sense of emotional despair is often designed to weaken your spirit, pushing you toward a place of isolation and helplessness. The emotional attack seems to wear you down, one wave of instability at a time, until it feels like you are incapable of overcoming the emotional turmoil that has taken hold. Spiritual attacks often target your emotional well-being as a way of destabilizing you. These attacks can amplify feelings of fear, loneliness, inadequacy, or self-doubt in order to create chaos within your emotional life. They work by tapping into your vulnerabilities, those internal struggles or fears you may have kept hidden, and magnifying them until they feel larger than life. The emotional instability you experience is not just random. It is a deliberate tactic to pull you away from your sense of inner peace and your spiritual center. The aim is to disrupt your emotional balance to the point where you feel powerless and vulnerable, unable to discern between what is real and what is an external attack on your emotions. It is important to recognize that these sudden emotional shifts are not simply a product of stress, personal issues, or mental health struggles. While those things can contribute to emotional instability, the intensity and unpredictability of the emotional upheaval may suggest that there is a spiritual dimension to what you are experiencing. A spiritual attack can cause you to lose touch with your emotional center, making it difficult to regain emotional clarity and stability. The more you try to fight against the overwhelming emotions, the more they can seem to take over, leaving you feeling helpless and defeated. When faced with this kind of emotional instability, it's crucial to address the issue from a spiritual perspective. Understanding that this may be part of a larger spiritual battle helps you to take a step back and regain control over your emotions. By recognizing that these intense emotional shifts are not entirely of your own making, you can begin to break free from the cycle of emotional chaos. Reconnecting with your spiritual practices, whether through prayer, meditation, or seeking guidance from others, can help you rebuild emotional stability and strength. This kind of spiritual approach allows you to regain your emotional clarity, protecting you from the forces that seek to destabilize your emotional well-being and ultimately regain the peace you may have lost. A deep sense of confusion, a lack of clarity about your decisions, thoughts, and life path is one of the most insidious signs of spiritual attack on your mind. It's as though your mental processes are veiled by a fog, and everything you once knew with certainty becomes muddled. You start questioning everything, the choices you've made, your beliefs, your identity, and the future that once seemed so clear. This confusion isn't merely about being uncertain on occasion or experiencing typical doubts, but rather it manifests as a pervasive and disorienting loss of direction that feels completely out of your control. The confusion often strikes unexpectedly. One day you may wake up with a sense of purpose, knowing exactly what you need to do, and the next you're unsure of what path to take. It's a constant struggle to make decisions, even those that once seemed simple and straightforward. The usual clarity you had in making choices, whether about your work, relationships, or personal growth, disappear. You may find yourself overthinking every little thing, unsure of what's best, and paralyzed by indecision. What's most troubling is that even with time and reflection, the confusion doesn't seem to lift. It's not just that the answers aren't coming. It feels like there is an invisible barrier that's keeping you from seeing the truth, making it hard to trust yourself or your ability to make good choices. This mental fog can extend into a general sense of uncertainty about your life as a whole. You may begin to question your life's direction, feeling lost or disconnected from your goals and dreams. The purpose that once fueled your ambition seems distant, and you struggle to connect with the things that once mattered most to you. Whether it's your career, relationships, or personal growth, everything seems clouded, and you feel as though you're wandering without a map, unable to find your way. The lack of clarity in your thoughts leads to a deep sense of frustration, and it may even cause you to feel as though you're stuck in a rut, unable to move forward or make any progress. On a deeper level, confusion can cause you to lose faith in your own instincts. You may second guess yourself more often, wondering if you're really making the right decisions, even when you know deep down what feels right for you. This internal conflict can breed self-doubt, and you might even question your very identity, unsure of who you really are or what you truly believe. What was once a solid sense of self now feels fragmented, and the more you struggle to find clarity, the more overwhelming and frustrating the situation becomes. You may even feel as though you're failing at life because you're unable to tap into the clear-headedness you once had. It's as if your mind has been hijacked, leaving you vulnerable to confusion and indecision at every turn. What makes this confusion particularly dangerous is the way it affects your emotional and spiritual well-being. When your thoughts are clouded and your decisions feel uncertain, it becomes easier to spiral into negative emotions such as anxiety, despair, or fear. Your mind becomes a breeding ground for doubt and worry, amplifying those feelings until they become overwhelming. In turn, this emotional distress only feeds the confusion, making it even harder to regain your clarity and confidence. It feels as though you're caught in an endless loop of confusion and negative emotions, with no way to break free. The source of this confusion often lies in a spiritual attack that seeks to destabilize your sense of identity and purpose. Spiritual attacks are designed to create division within your mind, making it difficult to distinguish between your own thoughts and the external forces that are attempting to manipulate your thinking. The confusion serves as a tool to wear you down mentally and emotionally, keeping you off balance and vulnerable. It's not just about creating temporary doubt, it's about preventing you from accessing the clarity you need to make empowered decisions and move forward in your life. When you're under such an attack, the more you try to rationalize or fight against the confusion, the more intense it becomes. The effort to regain mental clarity only increases your sense of frustration and helplessness. You begin to feel like you're walking in circles, unable to find solid ground or a clear way forward. It's as though your thoughts are being fragmented and distorted, keeping you from seeing the bigger picture or understanding your true path. The confusion may also manifest as an inability to connect with your spiritual center or sense of peace. Where once you may have had a strong spiritual connection or sense of guidance, now you feel disconnected or lost. The voice of intuition, which once guided you, feels distant and hard to hear. The spiritual fog makes it difficult to access the deeper wisdom that you need to navigate life's challenges, and you may even begin to question your faith or beliefs. The more distant this inner clarity becomes, the more you struggle to find peace and direction. It's as though your very connection to the spiritual strength that once grounded you has been severed, leaving you disoriented and vulnerable. In these moments of confusion, it's important to recognize that what you're experiencing is not simply a product of stress, fatigue, or external circumstances, but potentially a deeper spiritual issue. The mental fog that clouds your thinking is not something that can be solved through sheer willpower or mental discipline alone. To break free from this confusion, you must first recognize the spiritual nature of the attack, understanding that this confusion is not entirely your own, but is being influenced by external forces. Gives you the power to reclaim your clarity and purpose. Rebuilding your sense of clarity requires more than just trying to think your way out of confusion. It involves reconnecting with your spiritual practices, seeking support from trusted sources, and taking intentional steps to strengthen your mind and spirit. With time, patience, and the right tools, you can clear the fog that has clouded your thoughts and return to a place of clarity, confidence, and direction. The process may not be immediate, but by focusing on healing your mind and spirit, you can restore the peace and clarity that you've lost. In conclusion, spiritual attacks on the mind are not merely hypothetical, they are very real, and they can profoundly affect our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. From experiencing sudden confusion, overwhelming emotions, strange dreams, and nightmares to feeling disconnected from our sense of purpose, these signs are not to be ignored. They serve as warnings that something is attempting to disrupt your inner peace, stability, and clarity. It is important to recognize these signs not as isolated events, but as part of a larger spiritual battle that requires awareness, action, and support to overcome. The good news is that you are not powerless. By understanding the signs and taking the necessary steps to protect your mind and spirit through prayer, mindfulness, meditation, and seeking help, you can reclaim your peace and clarity. You are capable of confronting these challenges, and with time, faith, and resilience, you will emerge stronger and more grounded in your spiritual truth. Thank you for your time and attention today. May you find the strength and clarity to overcome any mental or spiritual challenges you may face, and may you always be guided toward peace, purpose, and light in your journey. Good luck, and remember that your power lies within you. Stay resilient, stay hopeful, and trust that you can navigate any darkness that may come your way. Thank you.